Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports. Tonight, my guest is Joe Mahan, and the topic for discussion is World Series champions during the 1970s. Welcome to Good Sports, Joe.
Thank you, Bill.
Good to have you here. We start our discussion, Joe, with the 1970 World Series, where the Baltimore Orioles romped past the Cincinnati Reds 4-1. Now, Joe, in the 1970s, the game format was 2 at home, 3 away, and 2 away, back home again. So you could actually go over, if you took one of the first 2 games, you could close out the World Series without having to go back. Now it's what? What is it now?
Yeah, 2-2, 1-1-1, but you still have 2-3-2s.
Yes.
In sports.
Okay, but in the World Series for the 70s,
Wow.
that's the way it works.
Yep.
So, you have any information for the before we get into it?
Well, in 1970, one thing I want to bring up is in 1969, Baltimore was in the World Series. They got beat by the Miracle Mets. And then in 1970, Baltimore's back in it against the Reds.
All right. And we have 2 Hall of Famers as far as managers are concerned, Earl Weaver for the Orioles and Sparky Anderson for the Reds.
Yes, yep.
All right, so game 1 is played in Riverfront Stadium, which is Cincinnati. It was 2 hours and 24 minutes to play a 9-inning game. Baltimore wins 4-3, even though Cincinnati was up 3-0 after 3. Jim Palmer goes over and pitches 8 2/3 innings, gives up 5 hits, 3 runs, 5 walks, 2 Ks for the win, and Pete Reichert gets the save. Home runs in the game. You want to know about the home runs?
Sure.
You got Boog Powell, hits a 2-run shot. Elrod Hendricks, who was a catcher. Brooks Robinson hit solos. And Lee May went over and had a 2-run single for Cincinnati.
Yep. Lee May, I remember him later on, one of my favorites. Now, the 70 World Series, I believe that was the first one on AstroTurf.
Oh, okay.
Because Cincinnati was one of those new kind of stadiums. Remember Cincinnati and the Steelers, they had those stadiums where you could play football and baseball.
And so the first one on turf, on AstroTurf, right? So now game 2 is still in Cincinnati, 2 hours and 26 minutes. I mean, back in the 70s, those games flew by. Baltimore wins again, 6-5, and once again, Cincinnati was up 4-0 after 3.
Wow.
Tom Phoebus gets a win with 1 2/3 innings of relief. Again, home runs. Powell hits a second one. Bobby Tolan and Johnny Bench hit solos. Now, Powell and Hendricks each had 2 RBIs, and Lee May, again, 2 RBIs.
Yep, and so that was they had the first 2 in Cincinnati with Earl Weaver, who he took over for the Orioles in the middle of '68.
Oh, okay.
So then he goes to the World Series in '69. It's interesting because they won it all in '66, Baltimore. So then they went to Earl Weaver. So now he's back in the World Series against, I call this Cincinnati the precursor of the Big Red Machine.
Yes, I agree. And so game 3 is, as you say, in Baltimore at Memorial Stadium, 2 hours and 9 minutes for the 9 hit. Again, Baltimore wins again, 9-3. Dave McNally, complete game, 9-hitter, 3 runs, 2 walks, 5 hits, hits a grand slam in the game, the pitcher does. And Frank Robinson, Don Buford hit solos for the Orioles.
Yep.
And so Frank Robinson, Paul Blair, each got 3 hits. Brooks Robinson got 2 RBIs. And Dave Concepcion, which you're going to hear his name a lot during the 70s, goes over and drives in 2 runs for the Reds.
Yeah. And it's an interesting name you bring up, Paul Blair.
Okay.
One of Bob Venturini's favorite players.
How so?
Bob was a big Orioles fan.
Okay.
Back in the day. Well, Paul Blair was a decent bat, great glove. As Bob said, he played the shallowest center field.
Yeah.
Because he could back up.
And we're going to find out later in the 70s, he's playing center field for the New York Yankees. Right? I had forgotten all about that before I started doing this research. So now game 4, Baltimore goes over and we're back in Baltimore again, 2 hours and 26 minutes. Cincinnati wins a thriller 6-5 where Lee May's 3-run homer in the 8th gives the Reds a 6-5 lead. And Clay Carroll comes out, pitches 3 2/3 innings of relief, 1 hit, no runs, 4 Ks for the win. Home runs were Pete Rose, we finally hear his name, and once again, Lee May with 4 RBIs. And Brooks Robinson hits a solo and goes 4 for 4, 2 runs and 2 RBIs.
Yep. Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle.
Absolutely.
Who gave him that nickname?
I don't know. Who?
Mickey Mantle. It was
Really?
in spring training. Pete Rose was running out it might have been a walk.
Yes.
And Mickey Mantle was joking to someone in the dugout, look at Charlie Hustle.
Yeah, and that stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he was known for. I
One of
forgot
the
all
greats.
about that. So we got Game 5 now. Baltimore's up 3-1, and still playing in Baltimore because it's the 2-3-2 series. In 2 hours and 35 minutes, Baltimore beats them 9-3 for the clincher. Cincinnati scores 3 runs in the first and then is held scoreless. Mike Cuellar pitches a complete game, 6-hitter, 3 runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks. Frank Robinson hits a 2-run homer, and Merv Rentemann, the catcher, hits a solo. And so they beat him 4-1, and you got the MVP stats.
MVP, Brooks Robinson, made that famous play in Game 1, kind of made a name for himself, and it's still one of the great highlights. One of the interesting things, I think, Baltimore finished the season with 11 wins in a row. Then they sweep the Twins 3-0, and they win the World Series 4-1. So they won 18 of 19 of their last games in a World Series championship.
So they
very
were
impressive.
very deserving to be champions at that point in time, right?
Yes, and Earl Weaver gets his first ring.
And Robinson hits 485.
Wow.
So, he was just on fire, both offensively and defensively. Yep. All right, so now 1971 has the Orioles back once again.
Right.
This is the 3rd year in a row that they were in the World Series, but this time losing to the Pittsburgh Pirates in 7 games, with Game 4 marking the first time a World Series tilt is played at night.
Right, yep.
All right, and then what you have is, again, Weaver, the Hall of Famer, and for the Pittsburgh Pirates, you have Danny Murtaugh managing the Pirates that year.
Yep.
All right, so once again, Baltimore has the home field advantage in Memorial Stadium, 2 hours and 6 minutes. Baltimore wins 5-3. Pittsburgh led 3-0 in the second. Dave McNally, once again, a 9-hit, a complete game, 3-hitter, 2 runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks for the win. Home runs, Rettenman, again, 3-run homer from last year to this year. Frank Robinson, Don Buford hitting solos. And now the first time we hear the name Roberto Clemente, he has 2 hits in the game.
Yep. So the Orioles win Game 1 at home. Roberto Clemente starting to do his thing in that 71 series. I didn't know until doing the research for this show that Roberto Clemente was on that 1960 Pirates team that won it all. Remember Game 7, Mazeroski? Yeah, I didn't know that Roberto Clemente was on that team.
Yeah, and this will be the last World Series that he plays in.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that as the whole thing ends. So now Baltimore goes over, and in 2 hours and 55 minutes, Baltimore wins 11-3. So they go up 2-0 at the very start.
Wow.
They got a 6-run fifth and go up 10-0. Jim Palmer, 8 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 8 walks, 10 Ks, and he drives in 2 runs. Richie Hebner hits a 3-run homer in the 8th off of Palmer. Brooks Robinson goes 3 for 3, 3 RBIs, 2 runs, and Frank Robinson has 3 hits.
Yep. So the Orioles go up 2-0. They
Yes.
win the first 2 at home.
Yep. And now it goes off to Three Rivers Stadium for Pittsburgh. 2 hours and 20 minutes. Pittsburgh wins 3-1 with 3 runs in the 7th. And Steve Blass comes over. And you hear lots of complete games way back then.
Oh, yeah.
Complete game, 3-hitter, shutout, and 2 walks, 8 Ks for the win. Bob Robertson hits a 3-run homer in the 7th to go over, puts him ahead, and Frank Robinson hits a solo home run and 2 hits.
Yep. So now the series 2-1, everybody hold and serve at home.
Yes. And Pittsburgh, again, wins in Game 4, 2 hours and 48 minutes, a 4-3 win. It's the first World Series night game that they're playing. And then Bruce Keeson, in relief, pitches 6 1/3 innings, gives up only 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 Ks for the win. Clemente has 3 hits, Willie Stargell, Al Oliver, Manny Sanguillen, 2 RBIs, and Paul Blair for the Orioles, 2 hits.
Yep. Look at all those names, Manny Sanguillen, Al Oliver, great players. Willie Stargell, Pops.
Yes. Yep, and they were just very strong offensively, for sure. Now, Game 5, still in Pitt. And they go over and win 4-0. Nelson Briles, another complete game, two-hitter, no runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks. The only 2 hits off of Briles, Brooks Robinson and Boog Powell have singles. And then also Bob Robertson goes over and hits a solo home run, and Briles with an RBI sacrifice fly. Pittsburgh wins 4-0, and now they go up 3-2.
3-2.
Right?
Everybody's has won at home so far.
Correct. And now Baltimore comes back again, Game 6. Now they're back in Baltimore. 2 hours and 59 minutes. Baltimore wins 3-2 in 10 innings. Brooks Robinson hits a 2-out RBI sacrifice fly in the 10th, walk-off for the win. Palmer goes 9 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 5K. McNally, starting pitcher, comes in the top of the 10th and retires Sanguillen with the bases loaded to go over and hold it, and then Robinson goes over and hits that sacrifice fly. Don Buford with a solo homer, and also Clemente with a solo homer.
Yep. So now it's 3-2, Baltimore.
3-3.
3-3.
Yes.
And now
Game 7.
Right. So everybody still won at home.
Yes.
So it's 3-3. They both won their 3 at home.
Correct.
And now you go to Game 7
in Memorial Stadium.
In Baltimore, yes.
In 2 hours and 10 minutes, Pittsburgh wins 2-1.
Right.
Jose Pagan, RBI double in the 8th. They go up 2-0. Buford goes over in the bottom of the 8th, gets an RBI single. There's your 2-1. Yep. Steve Blass, again, a second complete game for the Pirates, gives a 4-hitter, 1 run, 2 walks, 5 Ks, while Cuellar also goes 8 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, no walks, and 6 Ks, and Clemente hits a solo homer.
Right. 2-1. Clemente with the solo homer, and you said Pagan doubled in, Willie Stargell in Game 7. So it was 3-3. They won at home. But to me, that's crushing when you lose Game 7 at home in any sport.
And a defending champion also with the Orioles. You figured, they're the first-time Pirates are in there in the longest time too. So how about MVP? What do we have for the MVP?
MVP, Roberto Clemente, was through the roof in that World Series. And Clemente, two-time champion, 60 in 1971. National League MVP 1966, World Series MVP 1971, and 4-time batting champion.
Yeah, well,
Clemente.
And Clemente hits in all 7 games in this series.
Yep.
Bats .414, goes 12 for 29, hits 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and at age 38 sets a World Series record for hits in consecutive World Series games with 12.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, now he dies a year later. New Year's Eve in a plane crash delivering food to Nicaragua. And his last hit in 1972 was what?
3,000th hit.
3,000th hit.
Yep.
Yeah, what a loss that was.
He was, yeah, because he was 37, 38 years young, because he was still, and they went to the playoffs that year, the NLCS, so they still were trying to get back. It wasn't like they fell off. But and you know what impresses me about Roberto Clemente? 4 batting championships, and he's a right-handed hitter.
Yes.
Because you see through the years, it's usually a left-hander because you're facing more right-handed pitchers.
Makes
so
sense.
when I see right-handers winning batting titles like Clemente or Bill Matlock or even Nomar, I think it's very impressive.
Yeah, and what an arm he had in the outfield and right field. Just an all-around player. All right, so now 1972 has the Oakland Athletics beginning its streak of 3 straight World Series championships by edging the Big Red Machine of Cincinnati in 7 games. Once again, you've got 2 Hall of Fame managers. You got Dick Williams now, after the Red Sox is managing the Oakland Athletics, and Sparky Anderson is back again. So 2 Hall of Famers. So we start in Riverfront Stadium. 2 hours and 18 minutes. Oakland wins the first game 3-2. Gene Tennis hits 2 home runs, hits in all 3 RBIs. Vida Blue comes on in relief, pitches 2 1/3 innings, gives up only 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 1 K for the save, and Bert Campaneris has 2 singles. Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, each 2 hits, and Bench scores both runs for the Reds.
That was the first time the A's got in 72, going up against the Reds, who lost 2 years previous in 70. So they want to win a championship.
And now they're starting to get primed for that championship too. So game 2, again, in Cincinnati. So Oakland wins 2-1. Catfish Hunter goes 8 2/3 inning. 6 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 6 Ks, also an RBI single, and Riley Fingers comes in with a save. Joe Rudi hits a solo home run, and Hal McCrade hits an RBI single in the 9th to get it close for the Reds, but Oakland prevails 2-1. Both games in Cincinnati, just the opposite of what happened in 1971.
Yep, and that's an interesting player I liked, Vida Blue.
Yes. Well, and he was, I was surprised to find out he was pitching relief at that point in time. Yeah. So he must have been much younger at that point, right? Because I remember him as a starting pitcher.
Oh, yeah. And Catfish Hunter was a bonus baby.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was a bonus baby. He was big time player.
Yeah. And later he comes over and plays for the Yankees also, just like Reggie Jackson. And so Game 3 goes into Oakland in Alameda County Stadium. And Cincinnati wins 1-0. Jack Billingham goes over and pitches 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks for the win. Blue Moon Odom, they got Blue Moon and they got Vida Blue. Goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 11 Ks for the loss. Cesar Geronimo, RBI single in the 7th, scores Perez with the only run in the game.
Yep. Yeah, Blue Moon Odom, one of the great nicknames in baseball, but you could just mention the names, how good that Cincinnati team was.
Yes, they were loaded.
They were.
Yeah, but they're still struggling here. And then now Oakland goes over and wins the next game to tie it up. No, they go up 3-1. They win 3-2. They score 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning on pitch hit RBI singles by Don Mincher and Angel Mengual.
Yep.
I mean, that's Williams to the extent, where he was just pulling all the strings and making it work. Fingers gets a save with a scoreless 9th. Tennis hits a solo home run, 3rd of the series. Bando, Tennis, Rudi has 2 hits. Perez, Bench has 2 hits, and Bobby Tolan hits a 2-run double in the 8th to make it close. All right, so they go into Game 5. Oakland's up, what are they up? 3-1. And in Cincinnati, they go over, and Cincinnati wins 5-4.
Yep.
They have 5 relief pitchers for the Reds. They go 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, and Jack Billingham gets Campaneris to end the game on a double play. Home runs by Pete Rose, Dennis Menke with solos. Rose has 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Tolan, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. And Tennis hits his 4th home run and scores 4 runs. You got something about Tennis?
Well, I'll tell you at the end of the series.
Okay.
I got something. But in the series, the A's are up 3-1.
Yes.
And now the Reds are fighting back. Now it's 3-2.
And they go into Game 6 in Cincinnati. Cincinnati prevails 8-1. They got a 5-run 7th inning, which gives them an 8-1 lead. The Reds relievers go 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 K to finish the game. Bench hits a solo home run. Morgan, Tolan, Concepcion have 2 hits, and Geronimo and Tolan has 2 RBIs. And now the game is, the series is tied.
3-3.
And they go back, they stay in Cincinnati for Game 7.
Yep.
Takes 2 hours and 11 minutes. Oakland wins 3-2. Fingers gets a 2nd save. He goes over and pitches 2 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 K. Gene Tennis has 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Sal Bando 1 RBI. Rose hits 2 hits, and Perez an RBI. Yep. And Cincinnati wins 4-3.
Right. And so that's 2 years in a row. Game 7, the team loses at home.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yep.
So and the A's. So it was impressive. The A's are up 3-1. Reds got it to 3-3, but then they lose Game 7 at home.
And MVP is
Joe Rudi.
Gene Tennis.
Gene Tennis. Yep. Yeah, he replaced Reggie Jackson, an injured.
Yes.
4 home runs for Tennis and 9 RBIs.
Yes, and that was a World Series record for the home runs. And and who breaks that record later in the 70s is Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
And he hits 348. So really, he put his name out there for the first time and helped him Oakland win their first of 3.
Yep. So now the A's got a championship with the owner Charlie Finley.
Oh, that's true.
The showman.
Yes, absolutely.
And then here we go to 1973.
Oakland goes over and makes it 2 in a row in 73 by nipping the New York Mets in 7 games. We have Hall of Fame managers again, Dick Williams in Oakland and Yogi Berra
yes.
in New York with the Mets. They start, game one is in Oakland at Alameda County Stadium. Oakland wins 2-1. Ken Holtzman goes 5 innings, gives up 1 run. Fingers goes 3 1/3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 Ks. John Matlack takes the loss, even though he goes 6 hits, 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, and you've got Hall of Famer Willie Mays making an error in center field that goes over and sort of goes into why they lost the game at that point in time.
Okay, so that famous error where they say he was flailing out there was in game 1.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And so now we go game 2, again, back in Oakland, still in Oakland. The Mets come out on top 10-7 in 12 innings. Willie Mays, here we go, comes back with an RBI single in the top of the 12th to go ahead 7-6.
Yep.
The Mets score 4 runs in the top of the 12th. Oakland comes back with 1 run in the bottom, and they beat them 10-7. Home runs by Cleon Jones and Wayne Garrett. For solos, Jones, Bud Harrelson, Jesus Alou have 3 hits. Gene Tennis has a 2-out RBI single in the 9th to tie the game, and Reggie Jackson 4 hits, 2 RBIs. Now we're starting to see Jackson's name come up on a regular basis. So they go, what is now 1-1.
1-1.
And they're going into Shea Stadium for the next 3 games.
Yep.
Oakland wins 3-2 in another extra inning game in 11 innings. Burt Campaneris' 2-out single in the top of the 11th goes over and puts him ahead. Fingers again, goes over and gets a save. No hits, no runs, 1 walk, no Ks. Tom Seaver goes over and pitches 8 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and 12 Ks. Great game by Seaver, but it goes into 11 innings. Wayne Garrett hits another solo home run. Garrett, Felix Milan, Rusty Starr, Bud Harrelson, and has 2 hits. Campy has 3 hits. Rudy and Bando have 2 hits.
Yep. So a lot of good, big names you remember from, because the A's were in multiple World Series, a lot of those names were household names.
Yes.
Bando, Campaneris, Jackson, on and on.
Yeah.
Great club.
And this is their 2nd year there, so on the national scene. And so once again, the Mets, this time they go over and the Mets win 2-0 with Jerry Koosman and Tug McGraw combining on a 3-hitter, no runs, 7 walks, 7 Ks. John Miller's RBI single, and Don Hahn, don't even remember his name, hits an RBI triple to go over and give the 2 runs for the Mets.
Yep. Oh, so that's interesting. Tug McGraw was on that Mets team.
Yes, he was. Yep.
He later won a world championship with the Phillies.
Yes, you're right.
Yep. So
back in the 80s.
I didn't know that he was on that team.
Yep. So he helped go, hold him down. So now Oakland is down 3-2, correct?
Yep.
Yep. And they go back to Oakland for games 6 and 7. Oakland wins game 6 in 2 hours and 7 minutes. Another quick game.
Boy.
3-1. Catfish Hunter, 7 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 K. Fingers comes on, closes it out with 1 2/3 innings, no hits, no run, 1 run, a K, and gets his 3rd save. Tom Seaver again pitches well, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks, but walks away with a loss. Reggie Jackson has 2 doubles, a single, 2 RBIs, and 1 run, and Felix Milan has an RBI single in the 8th for the Mets for their only run of the game.
Yep. And isn't it something these last 2 World Series you're talking about with the A's? You mentioned Raleigh Fingers a lot.
Yes.
A relief pitcher. And then we were talking about 1970, how you were saying how they would pitch complete games. So he was one of the first ones, what you're seeing now. Raleigh Fingers.
And Williams knew what he had there. So I think he was saving him there at the same time. So that was very different for.
It was, yeah.
And I think Raleigh Fingers was sort of really made it a relief pitcher as someone that you needed for in order to win the games.
Yeah, and he also was a star. He was a celebrity.
Well, he had the handlebar mustache.
Getting results. Yeah, he was good.
Yes. And so now game 7 is still in Oakland. And Oakland wins 5-2 with Campaneris and Jackson 2-run homers in the 3rd inning. Campy has 3 hits, 2 RBIs, Rudy 2 hits. Ken Holtzman and Fingers combined for 8 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 2 wins for the K, and Oakland wins its 2nd World Series.
Yep. And then in that World Series, Reggie Jackson's the MVP. hit 310 in the series, and a go-ahead home run in Game 7.
Correct.
So money play, Mr. October.
Yes. Well, and then the next year, that's where he gets that that nickname. Last World Series for Willie Mays, he goes 2 for 7, and you have that classic photo in Game 7 with with Mays begging the umpire at home plate for the call.
And it was, I watched that recently. It was, you know, it could have gone either way. What bothers me about that World Series, because it went 4-3.
Yes.
But it seems like they blame Willie Mays for his floundering in Game 1.
Yeah.
That was they went 7. He wasn't responsible for losing that, but that's the way it seems like it's painted.
Well, and then Game 2, he has the RBI single in the 12th to put them ahead.
Yep.
You know, and Rusty Staub has a great. You know, if the Mets had won, Rusty Staub would have been the MVP.
Yep.
He bats 423.
Wow. Yep.
So now we go into 1974, and 1974 makes history with the first All-California World Series, where the Athletics defeat the Los Angeles Dodgers in a quick 5 games. And once again, Hall of Fame managers. Now, Williams is out. Al Dock is the manager for Oakland, and you got Walter Alston for the Dodgers.
Yep.
And so Game 1 is in Dodger Stadium. Oakland wins 3-2. Ken Holtzman and Fingers gets a win, combines for 8 2/3 innings. They give up 11 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Andy Messersmith goes 8 innings for the Dodgers, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 Ks, takes the loss. Jackson hits a solo home run for the Dodgers. Jim Wynn hits a solo home run in the bottom of the 9th off Fingers. Rudy has 2 hits. Campy has 1 RBI. Bill Buckner, Steve Garvey, Messersmith, both 2 hits each.
Billy Buckner was on that team.
Yes, he was.
Wow.
Yep. And he definitely comes into play later in the 70s also, or the 80s. The 80s.
Yeah.
Really. So they're still in L.A., and now L.A. comes back in Game 2, wins 7-2. Don Sutton goes 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 9 K. Sutton gets Bill North to ground into a double play with the bases loaded to end the 8th inning.
Yeah, Don Sutton was good, a technician.
Yes.
Not necessarily that much of a power pitcher, but kind of like a Greg Maddux with a little more speed on the ball. But,
excellent comparison.
Good pinpoint.
Yeah, and Vida Blue, now starting pitcher, goes 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, takes the loss. Joe Ferguson hits a 2-run shot in the 6th for Los Angeles, and Joe Rudy hits a 2-run single in the 9th to go over and make it close for Oakland.
Yep.
So now it's 1-1. They go into Oakland now for three games. Again, Alameda County Stadium. Oakland wins 3-2 once again. So the first 3 games of the World Series all ended at 3-2.
Wow, yep.
And so Catfish Hunter goes 7 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 4 Ks for the win. Again, Fingers goes over and finishes the game. Gives up 2 hits, 1 run, 1 K for the save. Bill Buckner and Willie Crawford hit solo home runs for the Dodgers to keep it close. Campaneris has a double, a single, 1 RBI, and Rudy an RBI single. Yep. And so now Oakland goes up 2-1 with the next 2 games still in Oakland.
Yep.
So Oakland in Game 4 wins 4-2, and Ken Holtzman wins the 2nd game in this World Series, goes 7 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks, hits a solo homer. Once again, as we said, Fingers is now so prominent.
Yep.
Comes in, finishes the game again, gives up 1 hit, no runs, 2 Ks for his second save. Jim Holtz hits a 2-run single, and Sal Bando an RBI single in the 6th to give him 3 runs, and Bill Russell hits a 2-run triple in the 4th for the runs for the Dodgers.
Yeah, Bill Russell, really good pro, the shortstop.
Shortstop, yes.
And you saw him later on in the decade. But that was something about Billy Buckner being on that team. And then later, 12 years later, he's in the World Series, or more than 12, with the Red Sox. Yeah. And then he had that long streak when Billy Buckner was with the Cubs.
And a great hitter.
Batting championship.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. All right, and so now we go Game 5, again in Oakland. Oakland can clinch it, and they do. They win 3-2. Ray Fosse and Joe Rudy go over and hit solo homers, and Fingers notches his third save with 2 scoreless innings. Jim Wynn and Steve Garvey, which we've never really even heard Garvey's name, have an RBI each for the Dodgers. So what do we got for MVPs in 74?
Raleigh Fingers, MVP, 3 saves, like you said, and 1 win. So he's showing,
ERA of 1.93. He pitches 9 1/3 innings, gives up 8 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Now Oakland is the first three-peater since New York did it in 1949 to 53. 4 of the 5 games had scores of 3-2. All 5 games had the losing team tally 2 runs. And Steve Garvey bats .381, but really, doesn't get the key hits that the Dodgers would need.
And so that was Walter Alston, manager of the Dodgers.
Correct.
Because he won 3 championships in the 60s, 1 in 59. He might have won 4.
With Koufax and Drysdale way back then, right?
I don't know if he was the, because he won it in 59, and then, Koufax and those guys had 2 championships in the 60s. And they got swept by Baltimore in 1966. But the Dodgers are amazing like that. They'll keep the manager. They're not going to replace him every 3-4 years. Walter Alston was there forever, and then later, Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda, absolutely. So 1975 has the big red machine of Cincinnati back in the World Series, edging the Boston Red Sox in 7 games, with Game 6 being hailed as the greatest game ever played. So we start off with Hall of Famer Sparky Anderson, and managing for the Red Sox was Darryl Johnston. All right, and so we start in Fenway Park. Boston wins 6-0. Louis Tiant, complete game 5-hitter, shuts him out, 2 walks, 3 Ks. The Sox score 6 runs in the 7th. 10 batters hit around, and then Cal Yastrzemski, Carlton Fisk, Cecil Cooper all have an RBI in the 7th. Enrico Petrocelli a 2-run single in the 7th. Rick Burleson 3 hits. Rico, Fred Lynn, Denny Doyle 2 hits. Joe Morgan and Joe Foster 2 hits in that game.
Rick Burleson, the Rooster.
Yes.
And Cecil Cooper, who went on to a long career and just fantastic hitter.
And that was such a fun World Series, as we're going to see. Boston goes over, and still in Boston, Cincinnati wins 3-2. They get 2 runs in the top of the 9th on 2-out RBI hits by Dave Concepcion and Ken Griffey. Raleigh Eastwick is now almost turning into the Rolly Fingers. He goes over and pitches 2 innings of no runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 K for the win. Bill Lee pitches a great game. 5 hits in 8 innings, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Dick Drago goes over and gives up the RBI hits in the 9th, takes the loss. Rosen bench 2 hits apiece. Rico 2 hits, 1 RBI, and Fisk 1 RBI in the game.
Bill Lee, the spaceman.
Yes. And he had a really good series this time around. So now Game 3, we go over to Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. 3 hours and 3 minutes. Cincinnati wins 6-5 in 10 innings. Joe Morgan hits a 1-out RBI single in the bottom of the 10th to win, and reliever Eastwick gets his 2nd straight win. Bench hits a 2-run homer. Concepcion, Cesar Geronimo hit solos. Fisk and Bernie Cabo, with a pitch hitter, has solos in the top of the 9th to tie the game. So just another cliffhanger once again. And Game 4, still in Cincinnati, Boston comes back, wins 5-4 with a 5-run 4th inning. Again, 10 batters go over and hit. Dwight Evans has a 2-run triple. Rick Burleson an RBI double. Yaz an RBI single in that. Tiant once again, complete game, 9-hitter, 4 runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks, and Geronimo for the Reds, 3 hits, and Foster 2 hits.
And bringing up a cool name, Dwight Evans.
Yes.
Fantastic fielder who made himself not a great hitter, a very good hitter at the end of his career.
But I don't think anyone played right field in Boston better than Dwight Evans has.
No, he was one of the best right fielders
at least
in
our
the league.
generation.
With the glove, but impressive how he stayed with it and became a very good hitter.
Now Game 5, still in Cincinnati. They win. Cincinnati wins 6-2. Don Gullett goes 8 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Eastwick with another save. Tony Perez hits 2 homers, a solo in the 3rd, and a 3-run in the 6th. Fred Lynn has 2 hits, and Yaz has 1 RBI. So Tony Perez's name's starting to come prominent now in there. So now we've got, Cincinnati up 3-2, and now Game 6 happens.
Right.
Now the Red Sox win 7-6, 12 innings, Fisk's home run in the bottom of the 12th, no outs, 1-0 count, and iconically waves it fair off the left field foul line, right?
Yeah, one of the most famous home runs in baseball history.
Absolutely, yes.
Is that?
Yeah, and Lynn hits a 3-run homer in the first. Excuse me. Cabo hits that 2-out clutch pitch hit, 3-run in the 8th, and Eastwick blows the save, giving up Cabo's home run. Geronimo hits a solo home run, and Forrest and Griffey 2 RBIs. And now we're tied 3-3. At Fenway Park, you know, we're all excited about that, you know, and then Cincinnati wins 4-3 with Joe Morgan's 2-out RBI single in the top of the 9th inning.
Oh, wow, yep. So again, a team not winning Game 7 at home.
Yes, that's right. It's starting to turn into a little of a trend coming on, right?
And Joe Morgan, one of the best second basemen of that era.
Yes.
Glove and the bat.
Hitting. Jack Billingham, Clay Carroll, Will McEnany go 5 innings of scoreless relief innings to end the game. Perez hits a 2-run homer in the 3rd, his 3rd home run in the 6th, and Sox score 3 in the 3rd. Yaz an RBI single, bases loaded walks to Rico and Evans by Don Gullett, and that ends it for the Red Sox.
Right, so Red Sox lose.
MVP is who?
And that was Pete Rose,
Yep.
370 average in the series.
10 for 27.
Yep.
Perez hits 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. Cabo goes 429, 3 for 7, 2 homers, 1 double, 4 RBIs. Yaz hits 310 with 4 RBIs. Rico hits 308 with 4 RBIs. And games 2 and 3 are come from behind wins for the Reds, and it's their first World Series crown for the Reds since 1940.
Wow, yep.
A long time. So now we move on to 1976. And the Cincinnati Reds make it 2 in a row by sweeping the New York Yankees 4 in 4 games. And you've got a Hall of Famer with Sparky Anderson, but not a Hall of Famer with Billy Martin.
Right.
And so we start in Riverfront Stadium, and it goes 2 hours and 10 minutes. Cincinnati wins 5-1. Don Gullett, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 4 Ks for the win. Homers, Joe Morgan hits a solo. Tony Perez, 2 doubles, a single, and an RBI. Lou Piniella has a double. Elliot Maddox in right field has a triple. And Greg Nettles a sacrifice fly for the RBIs, and that's it for the Yankees.
Yep.
All right, game 2, back in Cincinnati. Again, Cincinnati wins 4-3. Perez hits a 2-out RBI single in the bottom of the 9th for a walk-off. Again, that term wasn't used back in the 70s, but it's certainly used now. Forrest and Concepcion has RBI singles. Griffey has a sacrifice fly RBI. Thurman Munson and Nettles have RBI singles, and shortstop Fred Stanley an RBI double to account for the Yankees' 3 runs. So now we go into Yankee Stadium with Cincinnati up 2-0, and Cincinnati once again wins 6-2 with Will McEnany pitching 2 1/3 innings of relief, 2 hits, no runs for the save. Dan Dreesen hits a solo home run for the Reds. Jim Mason a solo home run for the Yankees. Dreesen goes 3 for 3 with 2 runs, 1 RBI. Foster goes 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Munson has 3 hits, and Mickey Rivers 2 hits in the game.
Oh, Mickey, there's a name, Mickey Rivers.
He's
Love him.
the leadoff hitter.
Yep. He would walk so slow, up to the plate, you remember? And then he was
blazing fast.
Right. Because that's when they brought in Mickey Rivers and Willie Randolph.
Okay.
Both a lot of speed.
Yes.
But you notice in this World Series so far, you're not mentioning Reggie Jackson or Catfish Hunter.
Yes.
Yet.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Because they're still probably playing for the Athletics, I'm thinking, right?
Yep.
And so now Game 4 in Yankee Stadium, nothing better than to go over and clinch in Yankee Stadium as the opposing team. They clinch easily 7-2. Johnny Bench hits 2 home runs, a 2-run in the 4th and a 3-run in the 9th to clinch it. McEnany goes 2 1/3 innings, scoreless and hitless for the save. Bench and Geronimo, Concepcion has 2 hits. Munson goes 4 for 4, 1 run, 1 RBI, and Nettles has 2 hits.
Yep.
So who do we have for the MVP in this sweep?
And that's Johnny Bench. 2 home runs in Game 4. They swept them, and the Reds win back-to-back championships.
Bench goes over, hits .533, 8 for 15, has 6 RBIs. McEnany goes 4 2/3 innings of scoreless innings and 2 saves. So you're seeing the relief.
Yep.
You got Fingers for those 3. Now you got McEnany. The Reds average .313 batting for the series. Bench bats .533. George Forster .429. Concepcion .357. Joe Morgan .357. Tony Perez .313, and Geronimo goes .308. And Munson hits .529. 9 for 17. So now we're starting to see his name come up a little bit more too.
So the Reds sweep the Yankees 4-0, and I believe they swept the Pirates 3-0 in the National League Championship Series. They just had one series back then.
Yeah.
So that was their finest hour, the Big Red Machine. 76.
I agree. Everything sort of came. They had already had lost before, and now they knew what it takes to sweep. Now, what's happening in 1977? The Yankees are back in the World Series, and this time becoming World Series champions by defeating the Los Angeles Dodgers in 6 games. So we're starting to see a little bit. You lose the World Series, you come back, get that experience, and go over and win. So you got Tommy Lasorda now taking over for Alston, and Tommy Lasorda turns into a Hall of Famer, and Billy Martin is for the Yankees, and finally gets the World Series win for him. They start in Yankee Stadium, long game, 3 hours and 24 minutes. The Yankees win 4-3 in 12 innings. Paul Blair, we talked about him with the Orioles, drives home Willie Randolph with a no-out RBI single in the 12th to win the game. Here we go again with reliever Sparky Lyle. Comes in, pitches 3 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 2 Ks for the win. Randolph hits a solo home run, has 2 hits, 3 runs. And for the Dodgers, pitch hitter Lee Lacy has an RBI single to tie the score 3-3 in the 9th to move it on to the 12th inning.
So now you're starting to see the Dodgers come around with all those great players.
Yes, but now they're playing the powerful Yankees. They play again in Yankee Stadium. LA comes back, notches the World Series at 1-1 with a 6-1 win. Burt Hooton pitches a complete game, 5-hitter, 1 run, 1 walk, 8 Ks for the win. Ron Cey hits a 2-run homer in the first. Steve Yeager hits a solo home run in the second. Reggie Smith hits a 2-run homer in the third. And Steve Garvey hits a solo homer in the ninth. And so what that means, basically, they score 6 runs. All the 6 runs are related to home runs by the Dodgers. And then and what happens, the Yankees only get 5 singles off Hooton. So if I remember, Hooton had sort of maybe a knuckle curve or something going on, and was just unhittable at that point in time. So now we move to Dodger Stadium for the next 3 games. And the Yankees win in Dodger Stadium 5-3. Mike Torres goes over and pitches a complete game, 7-hitter, gives up 3 runs, 3 walks, gets 9 Ks. Yankees score 3 runs in the first inning on a Munson RBI double, Reggie Jackson and Pinella with RBI singles. And then the only home run in the game is by Dusty Baker for the Dodgers, hits a 3-run in the 3rd inning. So now the Yankees are up 2-1, and they've got Game 4 coming up. 2 hours and 7 minutes, another quickie. The Yankees win 4-2. Ron Guidry, Louisiana Lightning, right? Complete game, 4-hitter, 2 runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. Jackson hits a solo home run, a double and 2 runs, and Davey Lopes, a Rhode Island boy, for the Dodgers hits a 2-run shot, and Ron Cey has 2 hits.
The Penguin.
Yes, that's right, the Penguin. Lots of nicknames back then. So another game in LA. LA comes back, go over and wins 10-4 with Don Sutton. Complete game again. 4-hitter, 4 runs, no walks, 2 Ks. Home run, Steve Yeager hits a 3-run shot. Reggie Smith, a 2-run shot for the Lakers. For the Dodgers. Munson, Jackson hit back-to-back solo home runs in the 8th. Yeager with 4 RBIs, Baker with 3 hits and 2 RBIs.
So now, like we were saying, obviously they brought in Reggie Jackson in '77.
Yes. Correct. And so now the Yankees are up 3-1. Go home to Yankee Stadium, 2 hours and 18 minutes, a real quickie. Yankees win 8-4. Jackson on 3 consecutive swings hits home runs in the 4th, the 5th, and the 8th for 5 RBIs. Torres goes a complete game, 9-hitter, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. So home runs, Jackson hits 2. Chris Chambliss hits a 2-run shot. Reggie Smith has a great series. Hits a solo home run for the Lakers, and the Yankees win 4 games to 2.
Yep. And that Reggie Jackson, that was 3 swings off 3 different pitchers.
Oh, was it?
Unheard of.
Okay.
Well, it's never been done.
And never probably will be replicated either.
So they beat the Dodgers 4-2, but you could start seeing with the Yankees that they're starting to, how it is later on, bringing in the free agents.
Yes.
Sparky Lyle, Reggie Jackson.
Steinbrenner's just opening up his pocketbook and bringing all those championships in. Who's the MVP?
MVP is 77. Reggie Jackson,
Mr.
5
October.
home runs.
Yep, a series
3
record.
in Game 6.
Yep. Breaks Gene Tennis's record. 3 home runs in Game 6 ties the record.
Wow.
Hits 450, goes 9 for 20, 10 runs, 8 RBIs. Torres has 2 complete games, has a 2.5 ERA with 15 Ks, and it's the first crown under owner George Steinbrenner.
Okay, yep.
All right.
77. Good owner.
What's that?
Good owner.
Yes. Well, he changes everything, too, as far as owners are concerned. Now, for the 3rd time in the 1970s, a team wins 2 consecutive World Series. The Yankees replicate the 1978 series, once again beating the Los Angeles Dodgers in 6 games.
Yep.
And you've got now Billy Martin is out for the Yankees, and Bob Lemon is the manager. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Not so much for his managing, but for his hitting or pitching. I think it was a pitcher.
Oh, so Billy Martin won it in '77, and what did they have? Got off to a bad start, so he wasn't there for '78.
No. Well, he might have been there at the very start of '78.
Right, yeah.
But I think a couple of times, and he got in some fracases with Reggie Jackson in the dugout and everything else, and they brought Bob Lemon, an old Yankee pitcher, and you got 2 Hall of Famers, and Tommy Lasorda's also there at this point in time. So we go into Dodger Stadium to start. The Dodgers win 11-5. Again, Davey Lopes hits 2 home runs, 2-runner in the 2nd, and a 3-runner in the 4th. Tommy John, known more for the operation he had on his elbow than for his pitching, but he goes 7 2/3 inning, gives up 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks for the win. Lopes hits 2 home runs. Dusty Baker hits a solo. Reggie Jackson has a solo home run, so he's still out there knocking the hits around, 3 hits. And Bucky Dent hits a 2-run single, and but the Dodgers win 11-5 at Dodger Stadium.
Yep.
Back in the Dodger Stadium again, the Dodgers take home court again with a 4-3 win. Ron Cey hits a 3-run homer in the 6th, giving the Dodgers a 4-2 win. Cey has 2 hits, 4 RBIs. Reggie Smith scores 2 runs, and Reggie Jackson 2-run double and 3 RBIs. Bob Welch retires Munson and Jackson with runners on 1st and 2nd with ground outs in the 9th inning to end the game. And Bob Welch really was a starting pitcher, really, as opposed to that. So Lasorda is, again, pulling the strings in this one. So now the Yankees go into Yankee Stadium for the next 3 games with down 2-0. Right? And so the game 3, they win 5-1 with Louisiana Lightning. Ron Guidry coming again. A complete game, 8-hitter, 1 run, 7 walks, 4 Ks. Solo home run by Roy White. Mickey Rivers gets 3 hits. And in the 5th and 6th innings, Guidry gets out of bases-loaded jams with ground outs to end the innings. Yep. So just really clutch pitching at that point in time. And they go up, so now they're down only 2-1, and 2 more games in Yankee Stadium. So game 4, Yankees win 4-3 in 10 innings. Lou Pinella's 2-out RBI single plates Roy White for the walk-off winner. Munson has an RBI double to tie the score 3-3 in the 8th. Rich Gossage, here we go again. Now we're getting the relievers. He goes 2 innings, The 9th and 10th, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 2 Ks for the win. And Reggie Smith hits a 3-run homer in the 5th with 2 outs for the Lakers, 3 runs to go over and tie the score before the Yankees win in 10 innings.
Yeah.
All right,
But
so
another great name.
What's that?
Player, Goose Gossage.
yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and he was menacing up there.
Yep.
I mean, they use that word many times for Goose Gossage. So we go stay in Yankee Stadium, 2 hours and 56 minutes, a colossal win with the Yankees winning 12-2. Wow. Jim Beatty goes over and has a complete game 9-hitter, 2 runs, 4 walks, 8 hits, 8 Ks. Yankees has 8 hits. Munson goes 3 hits with 5 RBIs. Roy White, 2 hits with 3 RBIs. Brian Doyle, Dent, and Rivers, the 8, 9, and 1 batters have 3 hits each.
Yep.
So they just devastate them. And so now they go up 3-2, going back to Dodger Stadium, and the Yankees prevail 7-2 with another athletic guy coming in, Catfish Hunter.
Yep.
Goes 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, and Gossage goes over and shuts him off the rest of the way with 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and 2 Ks. Don Sutton loses the 3rd game in the World Series.
Wow.
So Jackson has a 2-run homer, and the New York batters, Yankees batters again, the 8 and 9, Doyle and Dent get 3 hits in the 2nd straight game. Davey Lopes leads off the game with a home run in the 1st for the Dodgers.
Yep. So the Yankees win 4-2, but that's disappointing for Dodger fans, winning the first 2 and then losing 4 in a row.
Correct, yes.
So, and then 78, you know the World Series MVP? I didn't know this.
Yes, I do, but go ahead.
Bucky Dent.
Yep.
417
Bucky
average.
Frinkin Dent.
10 hits and 7 RBIs. So he was the World Series MVP in 78, and 2 weeks previous, he hit that home run in the playoff game against the Red Sox.
Correct.
With Torres, obviously moved to the Red Sox after winning the World Series in 77. But Bucky Dent, and here's the thing, because I watched it on YouTube preparing for this show, he broke his bat during that at-bat. Came out, gave him another bat, and it's always... it's frustrating for me that he hit a home run and he chokes up on the bat. Yeah. Usually when you choke up on the bat, you're not a home run hitter. You drive the ball. But Bucky Dent, you can't take anything away from him.
Absolutely not.
And now he's a World Series MVP.
Yep, and Yankees have a team average of 306. Gossage goes 6 innings, one hit, no runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks, and 1 win. And it's the 3rd repeat of the 1970 decade. Oakland has repeated Cincinnati and now the Yankees. Yep. And so we go into our journey through the 1970s World Series ends with the Pittsburgh We Are Family Pirates nipping the Baltimore Orioles in 7 games, just as they did in 1971.
Right.
So you got a Hall of Famer in Earl Weaver with Baltimore, and Chuck Tanner is the manager for the Pirates.
Yep.
They start off in Baltimore. Baltimore wins 5-4. Mike Flanagan goes 9 innings, complete game, gives up 11 hits, 2 in runs, 1 walk and 7 Ks. And Doug DeCences hits a 2-run homer. Willie Stargell hits a solo homer in the 8th. And the pit relievers go 7 2/3 scoreless innings after Baltimore scores 5 runs in the 3rd.
Yep.
So game 2 is in Baltimore, and Pittsburgh goes over and ties the series with 3-2 win. Pitch hitter Manny Sanguian, 2-out RBI single in the top of the 9th to go ahead 3-2. Kent DeColvey, once again, here comes the relievers, strikes out 2 in the bottom of the inning for the save. Eddie Murray has a solo homer in the 2nd, goes 3 for 3 and 2 RBIs for Baltimore. Game 3 goes over to Three Rivers Stadium this time, over in Pittsburgh. Baltimore wins 8-4. Scott McGregor, a New Hampshire guy, New England guy, complete game, 9-hitter, 4 runs, no walks, 6 Ks. And Benny Ayala has a 2-run homer for Baltimore.
Yep.
So we are now, 2 up?
2-1.
2-1 for Baltimore. And Pittsburgh in game 4 goes over and wins 9-6. And with Baltimore down they're down to Baltimore 6-3 in the 8th, and they get a 6-run 8th inning. Pitch hitter John Lowenstein and pitch hitter Terry Crowley each hit 2-run doubles. Tim Stoddard, the pitcher, goes over and hits an RBI single, and then goes over and completes the game with 3 hits, in 3 innings, no runs, and 3 Ks. Stargell hits a solo homer, 3 hits, 1 run, and 1 RBI.
Yep.
So now it is 3-1.
3-1, right.
The Pirates are down,
Yep.
and still in Three Rivers, and Pittsburgh wins 7-1. Jim Roker goes 5 innings, Burt Blyleven 4 innings to combine for a 6-hitter, 1 run, 3 walks, and 5 Ks. Bill Matlock has 4 singles.
Yep.
Tim Foley, RBI triple, 2-run single, 3 RBIs. And Dave Parker and Phil Garner have 2 hits.
There's a name, Dave Parker, the Cobra.
Is that was his nickname?
Yep.
All right, so Baltimore, now we go to Baltimore. Pittsburgh's got to win 2 if they're going to take it. 4-hit shutout by John Candelaria. He goes 6 innings, 6 hits, no runs, 2 Ks for the win. Tkachuk finishes with 3 innings, 1 run, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 4 Ks for the save. Omar Marino has 3 hits, RBI. Tim Foley, RBI triple, and a 2-run single. Now we quickly go, because we're running out of time. Pittsburgh wins in Game 7, 4-1. Stargell hits a 2-run homer, 2 doubles, 4 hits. Kent Tkachuk goes bases loaded in the 8th inning, retires Eddie Murray on a flyout to end the inning, 3rd save of the series, and Pittsburgh wins 4-1.
Yep. So they win the series 4-3. They were down 3-1, won the last 3 in a row, the last 2 in Baltimore, and the Orioles lose 2 Game 7s to the Pirates in 71 and 79, and lose both of them at home, the Orioles.
And as you said, there was a trend where Game 7 doesn't mean whether you have home field or not.
Yep.
So, and the MVP is who?
Willie Stargell, 400 average, 3 home runs, including go-ahead home run in Game 7. Pops.
7 RBIs, and the Pirates go over and bat .323, so everyone was hitting. Tkachuk goes, pitches 5 games, get 3 saves, and as you say, Pitts rallies from a 3-1 deficit. So, Joe, we have 1 minute left in the show. Of all the 1970s World Series, which year is your favorite?
79, the We Are family.
Okay.
Yep. My mom's from Pennsylvania. It's one reason.
Yep.
And just love that team. Dave Parker, the Cobra, Bill Matlock, Garner, Pops, just Manny Sanguian. Just love the Pirates, but that's my favorite one. 79, the We Are family Pirates.
Yeah. See, I like the 75 with the Red Sox, even though they lost, just the dramatics and everything else about that.
Yep.
So, Joe, I want to thank you for sharing your baseball knowledge with our Good Sports audience, and I hope our discussion that we brought back some World Series memories or educated those of our younger generation. Yep. Always welcome to come on Good Sports. Always enjoy talking all sports with you, Joe.
Pleasure doing this show on the 70s baseball, one of the great decades in baseball history.
I'm Bill Mulholland for Good Sports. Good night.